Hey folks, how you doing? I'm Alex, and here I am in beautiful Bermuda again, you know? Boy, picturesque Bermuda. I'm in one of these beautiful South Shore beaches, and these are one of the more quaint, quiet ones, so that when you come and visit me, you'll be able to visit one of these nice, lovely locations. So, what I got for you today? Well, today I'm going to talk about a little bit about sports. Because this last Sunday, I was watching a game, and it was a very, very interesting game of American football. And I was watching the Saints and the Patriots. And, you know, the game was tight, and it was all exciting, and you were paying attention to it. And then, Tom Brady messed up near the end, and I said, oh, well, the game is over. And I turned off the TV, and I went to another game. So, I went to watch another game. So, lo and behold, I come the next day to look at the sports highlights, and I see that the team actually won. And you know, they were talking about his heroism and how he won the game for the day. And you know what? It's really wonderful when you see a professional athlete, you know, and put that heart and soul in. And there was plenty of excuses. Everybody who follows the sport knows that the Patriots are hurting, and that there's too many rookies, and there's too many old guys on the team. As one sports writer put it, it's made out of, what you call it, Scotch tape and spare parts, you know, duct tape and spare parts. So, you know, a lot of people giving up on them. And, you know, when we're in this online business type of thing, people give up on us all the time. People will say, hey, the time has come to quit. The time has come for you to realize that getting in your head is not working. You know, you're going at it maybe a year, maybe two, maybe a few months. And you know, and those people are telling you now that, gee, you know, it's time for you to quit. But you see, Tom Brady, there's something special about him. And he has this Y factor, or the X factor, that makes him an extremely successful athlete. And that was that in his mind, despite being so successful in sport, he never forgets that he was picked number 6 in the 6th round. So if you don't understand sports and you don't understand what the heck I mean by the 6th round, well, it's like being a kid in a playground. And in the playground, you're the kid that gets picked last in the playground. So you're not the most wanted one, let me tell you. So if you're that kid that's been picked last, and you're like, man, I'm going to prove these people wrong, that I'm worth much more than being picked last. And that's what Tom Brady did. This is what he's done his whole career. And while stadiums may walk out on him, his own fans walk out on him, but the stadium was like 3/4 empty. And while fans are turning off the TV like I was, guess what? In his heart and heart, he's going to fight through it, he's going to battle through it, and he's going to be a winner at the end. And you know, guys, we're going to have to start getting that kind of spirit in us. And today's story is something about that, you know? And it's about a rich guy. And this guy is actually a true story, so that's the good part about it. And this true story is about this guy who was wealthy. Now, he's a little bit older now, and he shares his house with charities who want to do fundraising in his house. He's got a big ranch, hundreds of acres, lots of horses, because that's what he was. He was a horse trainer, and he likes thoroughbreds, and you know, that was his whole career. And this is how he made his money. So, but one day, he was giving the grand tour to one of the people who were interested in using his home for one of these charity events, the fundraising event. And they asked him, okay, show me the tour. And he was showing them around, and showing them the living room, the different places in the house where they could do their fundraising. Finally, he took them to his den. And in his den, he had all these trophies from his, you know, his horse breeding and his success with his horses. You know, he was like one of the most successful people. So he had ribbons, trophies, all kinds of things in it. But in the middle of all of that, he had a big frame, and in the middle of the frame, he had a paper in it. You know, he had a piece of paper in there, and it had a big red F on it. And then the guy who he was giving the tour to was asking him, "What's the story behind this big F? I mean, you gotta tell me the story." And the guy said, "Okay, I'll tell you the story." And he was explaining to him that when he was a boy, a teenager, you know, they were like third generation horse trainers. You know, this is what their father did, the grandparents did, and they were like gypsies, he said. You know, they went from farm to farm, house to house, and they trained horses, you know. And he said one day the teachers asked us to do what we want to do when we grow up. And he wanted us to write an essay, and he told us that it has to be realistic. And he said, well, so limit the amount of astronauts and all the other kind of stuff that you guys, I want some realistic stuff. So he said he was all excited because he knew what he wanted to do. He knew it. So he said he went home, he wrote it down, and he spent a good 2 or 3 hours doing it, and he turned it in. Now, a few days later, the teacher gave him back that essay. Now, that essay came back with a big red F on it. And the teacher told him, I said, I was expecting something realistic. And he said, well, what's wrong with it? And he said, look, you want to own a ranch with hundreds of acres and best horses in the county? I mean, be realistic. You're a third generation horse trainer, and your family's been doing it for 3 generations, and you are starting your training to become the next generation of horse trainers. You know, gypsy horse trainers. So if you give me an essay along those lines, I'll be glad to give you a higher grade. But as long as you're giving me these dreams and fantasies of becoming the horse rancher owner and owning these horses that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, there's no way I could give you. So he went home and thought about it, and maybe he should rewrite it. Why should I get an F? So he said he went home, he talked to his father, and his father said, whatever you decide is fine with me, son. So he said the next day, he went back to the teacher, and he handed him the paper, and he told him that he's gonna keep his F. That he could keep the F, but he's gonna keep his dream. And he said he's gonna make it. And he said he took the paper with him and went home, and he got an F for it, all right. But you know what? He said every time I struggled, I looked at that paper and I said, like hell, I'm gonna let that teacher be the one that's right. And I made it. And he said, you know, so he actually became one of the wealthiest people, horse owners in all of the county in California. Now, you see, I like the story because it's got that meaning thing that we gotta find that drive. You know, sometimes other people are gonna give up on us. Other people are gonna say, you gotta quit. You gotta stop. Don't you see the stadium is half empty? Don't you see people are turning off the TV? It's time to quit. You know, and when people start talking to you and discourage you, and some of these people are the people that you love the most, you gotta stay focused. You gotta stay and keep sharp. You know, there was a story about this young lumberjack. Now, this young lumberjack, he went to his first day of work, and he cut down 18 trees. 3 days later, he was cutting down 15 trees. By the end of the week, he was cutting down 7. And his boss came to him and said, what's going on? You're not making your quota. He said, I don't know, I'm working just as hard. But it doesn't seem that I'm making the same production. And the boss asked him, how sharp have you kept your axe? Have you been sharpening your axe? You know, Abraham Lincoln said that if I had 6 hours to cut down a tree, I'll spend 4 hours sharpening my axe. So guys, we gotta sharpen our axe, keep our dreams alive, and we gotta get this mindset thing going. Let's get these books that gets us in a positive, because we're gonna have people with negative inputs. People with negative inputs. And sometimes we're gonna start believing. And sometimes we're gonna start feeling negative. So we need to keep sharp. You know, so we gotta read. We can't just concentrate on how negative things are going and how I wish it was today, the day I finally made it. It don't matter. You know, we're gonna keep ourselves sharp. We're gonna keep ourselves a mindset going. You know, there's some very good books out there that could help us. This week I started reading a book, The 4-Hour Work Week. That's what we need to read books of people who are actually doing what we want to do. You know, and stop listening to people who don't even have the dream, don't even have desire in them, don't even have fire, and yet they have opinion. You know, we're going to start listening to people who have fire and desire, and this way we're going to keep our dreams sharp. And remember, let's not go like a bat out of hell and take off and start chopping down all these trees at one time. Keep ourselves sharp, keep ourselves focused, but hey, pace ourselves. You know what I mean? There's going to be good days, there's going to be bad days, and there's going to be real terrible days. But at the end, you will succeed. The success is written. You are about to be successful, and that's the main message for me today. I know you guys are trying hard, you're focusing on whatever you're doing. Whatever your entrepreneurial dream is, I know you are close. And so close that you could taste it. So go ahead, get ready to enjoy a fruitful life. And hey, one day you'll have a big red F that you'll be able to celebrate. So find that thing that burns inside of you, hey, and prove everybody else wrong, because I know you can. So on that note, I'm going to leave you guys. Enjoy some of this nice background scenery. I want to see you guys here, man. I mean, come on. I want to see you guys enjoying these beaches, okay? So on that note, I want to catch you in the next video diary.